Hello everybody, this is Nafisami here and you're watching videos on a lesson a day. So people, today I'm back with another interesting video on O-level biology, and this chapter is transport and plants, and this will be the last lesson on the chapter. Well, when I say this video is interesting, I say that because this video not only works with biology, but it also has some interesting facts from physics. So in this video, we're going to talk about how water moves up the xylem vessels defying gravity. So let's just jump into our lesson. So firstly, how does this happen? How is water moving up the xylem vessels against gravity? Well, to make this happen, that is to make water go up, we obviously have to use force to overcome gravity. In this case, the force which are contributing are the transpiration pull, the root pressure, and the capillary action. So firstly, let us understand what root pressure is. So basically, the living cells around the xylem vessels in the root use active transport to pump mineral ions into the vessel, thus lowering the water potential in the xylem vessel. That is, the solution in the xylem vessels becomes more concentrated. So water therefore passes from the living cells into the xylem vessels by the process of osmosis and flows upwards up to a certain height, and this is called root pressure. While capillary action, on the other hand, is basically the upward movement of liquid in a slim tube due to the adhesive and cohesive forces acting at the surface of the liquid. But capillary action and root pressure are not strong enough to make water rise up in tall trees. So from that we understand that the most dominant force that causes water to go up the xylem vessels is the transpiration pull. So before understanding transpiration pull, we need to have a good idea on transpiration. So what is transpiration actually? So transpiration is the loss of water vapor from the aerial parts of the plant, especially through the stomata of the leaves. So how does transpiration occur inside the leaf? We will be discussing now. So for the people who are not familiar with the cross section of a leaf or what a leaf consists in its inside, I've given the diagram for that, a level diagram, so that you can understand easily. So what will basically happen during transpiration is that water continuously moves out of the mesosphil cells. So you should think like the xylem has already transported these cells with water, and water is now continuously moving out of the mesosphil cells to form a thin film of moisture over the cell wall of the mesosphil cells. So from the wet cell wall, the water evaporates into the intercellular space or air space, as you can see in this diagram, and from there the water diffuses through the stomata into the drier air outside. So how is basically transpiration causing transpiration pull? So the evaporation of water from the leaf results in a suction force which pulls the water upwards the xylem vessels, and this suction force due to transpiration is known as transpiration pull. Another explanation can be that the water that is lost from transpiration must be replaced by water coming up the xylem vessels. So basically what happens is that the water molecules are attracted to each other by cohesion or cohesive forces, that is due to the hydrogen bonds within the molecules. These cohesion forces are strong enough to hold water molecules in a column or long chain. And as the molecules are lost at the top of the chain or column, the whole column is pulled upwards as one chain. So in the diagram shown below, what you can see is that the blue vessel-like thing is the xylem vessel, and the water is moving, water vapor molecules are moving out of the stomata, and as they're moving out, they're pulling the column or chain of water upwards, the xylem vessels. Now, the stream of water up the plant is called a transpiration stream. Now, importance of transpiration. Why is transpiration so important to us? It's mainly because of two things. One is that transpiration leads to transpiration pull. That is, as we know, a suction force is developed. And as transpiration pull happens, the leaf is supplied with water thus allowing it to carry out photosynthetic processes and other requirements of water that it needs. Now, another important thing about transpiration is that as the water vapors evaporate from the leaf, they remove the latent heat from the environment, thereby cooling the leaf and not allowing it to become scorched by the sun. Now, factors affecting the rate of transpiration. Now, will transpiration be high or will transpiration be in less amount depends on some factors. And the first factor is humidity of the air. Now, if the air outside is dry, the water vapor will diffuse more rapidly out of the leaf. That is, the rate of transpiration will increase. On the other hand, if the air outside is damp or humid, it hinders evaporation or diffusion of water vapors, thus making transpiration slower. Now, temperature of the air is also an important factor, as a rise in the temperature increases the rate of evaporation, thus increasing the rate of transpiration, and vice versa. Moving on, there are two more factors that affect the rate of transpiration. Strong wind is one of them. In still air, the water vapor moves out of the leaf, making the air around the leaf damp, so it decreases the rate of transpiration. Um, while in strong wind or during strong blow of wind, it would cause the water vapor to move away from the leaf, not causing the rate of transpiration to decrease or preventing the rate of transpiration to decrease. Now, another interesting factor is light. So basically, light affects the size of the stomata of the leaf, affecting the rate of transpiration. The sunlight helps the stomata to open up. So during sunlight, the stomata size increases, so more water vapor can move out per unit time, thus increasing the rate of transpiration. While in darkness, as the stomata closes closes up, so the stomata is now smaller, and so less water molecules or water vapor can move out per unit time, thus the rate of transpiration is decreased or it decreases. So moving on, we're going to discuss the topic of wilting. So basically, in strong sunlight, due to excess transpiration, the water is lost in higher amounts, and so the plant cells lose their turgidity. Or we can say it as water uptake is less than water loss. The turgor pressure on the cell walls decrease, causing plants to wilt. And this process of making plants wilt is called wilting. Now, advantages of wilting is that rate of transpiration is decreased because you're already transpiring too much. So if you keep transpiring, it's gonna be bad. So wilting helps to reduce transpiration rate because the leaf folds up, reducing the surface exposed to the sun, and which causes the guard cells to become flaccid and stomata to shrink. And we know when the stomata shrinks, the rate of transpiration decreases. Now, disadvantage of wilting is that the rate of photosynthesis is reduced because now as transpiration is taking place in less amounts, the water uptake has even become lower. So water becomes a limiting factor during photosynthesis. Also, as the stomata is closed, carbon dioxide entering the leaf is also less. So carbon dioxide is also becoming a limiting factor. Now, lastly, these two pictures show us how a normal plant and a wilted plant looks like. So in a normal plant, the air outside is not so high in temperature. So the transpiration is in normal rates, so water uptake is still greater than water loss. That's why the plant cells have not lose their turgidity. But in the wilted plant, you can see on the right side of the screen, the water loss is more than water uptake, thus causing the cells in the leaf to lose their turgidity and becoming flaccid, and that's how it looks. They're wilted. So that was all for today, guys. Keep watching Video on a Lesson a Day, your favorite online educational platform, and I will be again soon back with another interesting video on O-level biology. So until then, goodbye.